Jeffrey. How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing good. Let me get this video down and let's chat. So
Great.
Rick got caught in traffic, go figure, in Atlanta. So he's about 2-3 minutes out and then he'll join us. One of the fun things that technology has brought us is this opportunity that now we have to put everybody in a waiting room to keep the Zoom invaders out of our industry updates. So we certainly appreciate and apologize for any inappropriateness from last week. It certainly wasn't our intention. If you don't even know what we're talking about, forget it. We'll move on. But
it's like you just want to
Jeffrey
be like, get
Melvin,
life.
there you go. So you're my co-host today. Introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are and where you're from.
My name is Jeffrey Melvin. I am in the West Cobb Market Center. Work a lot up in Cartersville, Rome, Calhoun as well. But been at KW for a few years now, and man, Brett, I'm soaking up. We just coming off Mega Camp, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I'm excited about today's industry update because it feels like it's a new chapter coming up, coming off of Mega Camp and where we're headed for the rest of the year.
Perfect. Well, I want to remind people that there's a couple different ways you can view this. One is if you enjoy participating with us, we send out the Zoom link, so you certainly can log into the Zoom call and interact with us on Zoom. But we also live stream it to the Facebook groups. So if you're driving down the road or whatever, you just want to put it on your phone and let it sit on the center console and listen, you certainly can do that. And then if you happen to miss either of those, we certainly store these on our YouTube channel. So if you search YouTube, Heart of Atlanta group and find the KW little heart logo, we store all these on YouTube. So there's a couple different ways you can watch these, but we certainly enjoy the people that join us on Zoom and interact, and off we go, sir. So
here we go.
Jeffrey, let's jump into some numbers.
Let's go.
All right. So first and foremost, we track out of FMLS the last 7-day statistics. And if you're watching my screen, last week on Monday, there was 1,512 new listings that hit the market, which was pretty high for the trend we've been going through. This week, last 7 days, almost 1,300 new listings hit FMLS, and that's a pretty good number for, if you look back at some of these weeks in August, like 1,100 listings first week of August, 1,200 the second week, 1,250 the third week, and we did almost 1,300 here at the
second
end
highest.
the second highest here at the end of the summer. That's a pretty good optimistic, forward-thinking number for sure. Pendings stay pretty consistent. 10,000 or 1,050, 1,150, 1,250, 1,050, 1,150. You see our pendings don't drastically change that much, but 1,150 is certainly a good number. We did the same number kind of back at the beginning of August. So, you know, it's debatable, but you're going to read in some of the news outlets that the market slowed a little bit. I hadn't seen it in these numbers just yet in Atlanta. So 1,847 closings over the last 7 days. Let's get some
Which is a lot. That's a lot of closings.
Yeah, a whole lot, right? I like to look at these lines in relationship to the other lines on here. So for instance, the closer the yellow and the red line are, the closer we are to a balanced market, right? Hey, Rick. And the new listings certainly hasn't crossed over the closings yet, which would mean we're moving into a positive growth inventory place, but it's certainly starting to come together a little bit and it feels a little more balanced. What do you see, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I mean, even looking back though, I mean, almost though you're saying it looks balanced. I mean, it's splitting a little bit that way. So I think that's the magic question of the day is what's it going to look like a month from today?
Yeah.
You know, is it going to balance out and keep going consistent, or is it going to keep every month skewing?
Right.
Interested to look too at the beginning of each month. You know, it looks like it drops a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what happens come September.
Sure. And we've been tracking these, you can see on the graph since March 1st. And at some point in time, I'm sure we might spread out a little wider than 7 days. But 7 days is an interesting time frame to be tracking the real estate market, to give you real time data that we don't always get on our end. Like at Keller Williams, as all you agents are aware, we don't get our data specifically until the month's over. So like this month, we transmit all our numbers, and then all of a sudden we get a report and go, oh, August was great, or we could have done a little better in August. This gives us a little more real-time data for you to make educated consulting conversations with your clients, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. Well, let me run through residential lease. You'll see in the residential lease, the lines tend to trend the same. It's not necessarily big talking points outside of just having the information to consult investors. And certainly as the rental market shifts, just like all the markets are shifting, what effect does it bring to the table? But just kind of big picture, what are we hearing, Rick? What are you hearing as far as the real estate market? What are the talking points the media is telling our consumers? What do our agents need to be prepared with? Rick, you're muted, or we can't hear you, one of the two. Jeffrey?
I'm here. You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I can't hear Rick quite yet.
All right, I should be in a
There we
minute.
go.
There you are.
All right. You
Yeah.
go, Mr. Hale.
Just a few talking points. The Federal Reserve Chairman Powell's highly anticipated speech last week came and went without any major drama. So, it's kind of more of the same. There's nothing significant. Home sales, July existing home sales rose 2% from June and 1.5 over last year. So we're seeing increases in sales, even though inventory appears to be reasonably flat. We're absorbing, more than we're actually adding to the marketplace.
But Rick, I think that's a good talking point, because not everywhere in the country is hearing those numbers. Actually, nationally, they're saying the sales are a little bit down.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at the data we've got in front of us.
Yeah, which is good for us.
And pricing year over year, like in some quite as much as 20%, increases in home value. So, and that's just the product again of supply and demand playing out. And competition, it's still feverish energy around winning top pick houses.
Yeah. So one of the things that came out of Mega Camp this week, one of the quotables, they said actually, let me get the quote so I don't mess it up here. It says, the market doesn't dictate your activities. It dictates your message. And I thought that was a really powerful quote that came out of Mega Camp, meaning, well, if the market's good, we should be doing these activities. Well, if the market's bad, we still should be doing these activities. It just determines the messaging we're giving to the people we're doing the activities with. So
That's
for
great.
instance, how do you hear that message, Jeffrey?
I mean, for me, it's all about that is tied to confidence. Confidence in myself as a realtor and as other agents that are joining on this call. It's all about having the confidence that we have the resources and the knowledge and the info to keep doing those things that you were saying, no matter where the market's going.
Right.
I'm confident that I can do this, and this, and do it well.
Yeah. One of the quotes Gary used at Mega Camp is he said, if you ever get asked, is it a good time to buy or sell real estate? It's always a good time to buy or sell real estate. It just depends on your motivation. And really, that's kind of the same message parallel to what they're saying about the market. The market doesn't dictate the activities. It dictates the message we give inside the activities. So what's the message?
Well, it's the timeline too. It's not just motivation, obviously, it's quality of life. When it comes to residential real estate, other than strictly for investing purposes, you've got to factor in quality of life, experience, and tenure in the home and predicted time, because time over time, no one really, I don't know many people that have lost money in a real estate transaction that held it for the right amount of time and sold at the right time. And so that's where
Yep.
we as professionals really play a strong role in that consultative approach to making sure that the dynamics of their wants and needs align with a good economic decision.
There you
And
go.
to Rick, to me, that's why things like the market update are so important, because we're sitting down with our sellers who are year 3, year 4 into their home and being able to present them and show them the actual numbers, not just fluff and feel good, but hey, here's actual data that's going to back up what I'm telling you right now.
There you go.
And as a reminder, these are all, largely macro numbers, and real estate's a micro conversation when it comes to an investment on a particular street and in a particular house.
Yep.
So you've got to really drill down and take these as an overlay for what, the media presents and what the global picture looks like, and recognize that micro markets operate independently. And that's where your expertise has to shine.
Yep.
Yep.
So Jeffrey brought this census data to us, and this is a whole lot of data, and we obviously aren't going to be able to go through it all on this call, but it starts with just, here's the data for the state of Georgia, right? And you see these numbers. Can y'all see the screen? Population of Georgia right now is 10.6 million. The median household income is 62,000. Niale can certainly drop this link into the chat, and we'll get it out to you guys. Well, it gets interesting because there's a lot of housing information, and I want to scroll down to the housing information, but I think it's important that you understand the demographics that you're serving, because you tailor your message to this, and you make marketing decisions, and you spend your money believing that this plan of lead generation is going to go create the results you want. And this is analytics that kind of gives you a little insight into that process, right?
Yep.
What would you say before I get there?
I'm sorry, one more time. You asking me or?
Yeah, Jeffrey, when you looked at this for the first time, what'd you get out of it?
It felt like a whole lot of random numbers to me until I started diving in deeper into my specific counties.
Yeah.
And once I dove into Cobb County and looked at the rates there, and dove into Bartow County, and then noticed tax rates and the amount of growth, the housing right there, right here is where, though, I was very intrigued, even with the whole entire state of Georgia. Scroll down just a little bit more, Brett.
So obviously occupied units paying rent in Georgia, the different rental amounts. What could I use this slide for? Hey, I'm a first-time investor. Here's where the bulk of people are spending money on rent rates. You're looking to buy a property that you can lease out for over $2,000 a month. Look at the percentage of people that are actually paying over $2,000 a month in rent. Maybe we should be looking at something that comes in under $2,000 a month. I could use this data for that, right?
Yeah. And hyper local wise, I mean, if you're going to rent in the heart of Buckhead or Midtown, single family detached, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, I'd say a real high percentage of that percentage lives in that zip code in that area.
Of course.
Yep.
Occupied housing in the state of Georgia, 64% are owner occupied, 36% are renter occupied.
That was what was started when it started getting interesting to me, when you dive into the specific counties, because you can see what it is for your county.
Yeah.
How many people are actual, what's the percentage of homeowners? That was interesting to me.
And how do you do that? Under options here, Jeffrey?
You can, at the top under search, you can just type in your county, and then it gives you those same statistics for each county.
Perfect. So we'll show that here in a minute, but housing occupancy in Georgia, owner occupied 88%, vacant 12%. That was a shocking stat to me.
In what way?
I was surprised we had 12% vacancy. Married coupled family versus male no spouse parent or female no spouse parent. Just demographics that you can use to get smart with your marketing, right? Moved to 2017 or later into occupied housing units over the last 4 years. Bedrooms, same deal. I'm looking to be able to consult people on good investments. This is something good. Vacancy rates. There's just so much stuff in here that I would tell you that I would, if I was a professional in the real estate industry, and this only comes out every 10 years, right? This is something I probably should study and know my market around, especially the counties that I do business in. Any other
Yeah, and
thoughts?
we looked at it. Yeah, I mean, we looked at it. I can take Bartow County for example, surrounded by Cobb County, Paulding County, underneath to the south, and the rate that Cobb County has grown, the rate that Paulding County has grown in the past 10 years, is setting Bartow County up to explode over the next 10 years because our taxes are so much cheaper. So being able to look and see what areas around you and how they're doing can kind of prep you for what's coming and where you should be focusing your marketing money as well. If you're going to really double down on your marketing, where's the next area of growth surrounding your county?
Yeah. See, when we did Fulton County, the over 2,000 a month in rent jumped up to 5%, right?
Yep.
To Rick's point. So certainly allows you to get hyper local, and I think that's really important. Rick, anything you'd add?
I mean, we kind of flew by the context of something that was said earlier that, the data only matters if you've got a benchmark and something to compare it to. So this is your macro, and then doing what Jeffrey suggests and dig into your county, find competitive advantages in your marketplace and really scream from the rooftops and garner some traction around your expertise and knowledge of why a certain product in a certain neighborhood or certain area or near the epicenter of future development or maybe social, opportunities and engagement. These are the things that professionals really know. They know their numbers and they know their story and they promote well. And so I just hearing Jeffrey, I'm like, wow, I'm absolutely certain I should probably go look at multifamily options given the growth and the potential rental pattern in Bartow County. And so for investors or owner occupied, the other piece of the equation is schools and quality of life. And these are things that all need to roll up into your messaging. And so if you're not, and you're just saying, hey, use me, I'm a great realtor, you might be missing a huge piece of potential magnet to you and your development or growth or opportunity going forward.
Yeah. And this is part of being a professional, right? And educating yourself and bringing this value, not only to yourself, but to your clients, right?
Yeah, and it gives you more confidence to be able to have these conversations with your clients when you actually know the data.
100%.
I mean, when you're the pro in the situation, you feel a whole lot more confident.
There you
Well,
go.
and competing for a listing, he's as another example. The average realtor walks in and goes, look, we use FMLS, color fly, brochures. We maybe use a drone. There's 5 or 6 things everyone does. But when you come in and go, hey, I'm not just going to list your house. I'm going to market and promote it to the entire 5 major market areas around us, because I feel like we've got something few people have, and here's how I'll promote it. And here are the numbers to support my opinion. It gives you a major advantage and perceived expertise.
There you go.
I think it was on one of the breakout sessions on Mega Camp that I heard. Everyone can do what you can do, but not everyone can know what you know. And to me, that was wow. People can replicate what I do, but they don't know what I know. And so the more I know that's what, the knowledge sets me apart as a professional.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. So the biggest things we learned at Mega Camp, there was so much. This comes off Inman News and it goes into a deep dive, but we're just going to read the highlights. Gary made a comment. He said, what goes up must come down. And the context of that is he said, listen, there's economic cycles in life. And you realize when something goes up, it's eventually coming down. And, and if we play the stock market, for instance, of course, we're trying to time that to get rich, which never works great for me. But nonetheless, you're always trying to buy at the bottom and sell at the top. Well, nonetheless, in the economic cycle of real estate or our market, it's certainly at a high right now. And the reality is we know it's at a high, that it's tough to expect it to get much higher. But how long is it going to stay there before it starts to come down is debatable. But he's just reminding us that, hey, what goes up must come down, and expect the market to come back down at some point. And quite honestly, I think that's a breath of fresh air to some of us. What do you guys say?
I agree. It'd be refreshing to feel like you have a higher percentage chance of winning with buyers today. And it would be refreshing. And a balanced market's a beautiful thing.
Yep. Jeffrey?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I mean, I think everybody would be a little more excited. I think there'd be more people making more money, honestly, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and at some point, affordability is going to be challenged too. If interest rates tick up a couple of points, I mean, inflation. I mean, there are a number of variables at play right now that are inevitable that will challenge affordability that I think tip the scale of supply and demand. And hopefully we can catch up on some supply, some creation, house creation.
Of course. So teams are a hot topic in real estate right now. There was a lot of conversation around teams and the future of real estate teams and where they're going. And everybody seems to believe that teams are going to play a big role. However, what we talked about is the market center is your team if you're not on a team. And us at the market center level are working our tail off to up our value proposition so that you can exist and thrive with leverage through us, i.e. our KW Easy button and transaction coordination and all the stuff that a team hub brings to the table. So obviously, whether you're an individual or a team, it's still the same conversation. It's just who's the team. But this is the future of real estate, and everybody is really, really, really doubling down on this concept right now. I think I've said that pretty well, unless you all have something to add.
You nailed it. Concierge level service expert, having specialists on a team to super serve clients. It's hard to compete.
Pandemic's still on everyone's mind. He actually made mention that he thinks people are going through a little post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, we thought we were out of it, now we're back in it, and everybody's tightening up, and it's a little bit of a shock and awe feeling. But one of the positive things that came out of this is you realize in the news media in our country right now, there's a lot of events going on that are not real positive spun events, whether it's Afghanistan or Haiti or hurricane or COVID-19. And Gary reminded us that, hey, it's a really incredible opportunity for you to do care calls with your database. He says, remember, your dentist isn't calling to check on you. Your doctor's not calling to check on you. Your dry cleaner's not calling to check on you. But if your real estate professional calls to check on you, what an opportunity to really, really care about people and put the relationships first. Because I think people appreciate it. One, two, it's not a bad thing that it's a good business opportunity. But the third thing is, it speaks to humanity. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a really powerful thing. Rick, Jeffrey?
Yeah, don't assume your experience is theirs. That's all I'd say. Like, come in with an ear of curiosity. And it's easy to assume everyone's feeling fill in the blank about fill in the blank. And I think it's much smarter from a consultative, caring position to always start with, hey, there's a lot of crazy chaos going on. How are you feeling and what's impacting you? And then let the conversation evolve. If you start with a position or statement of fact, sometimes you'll arm people with a defensive posture if it's not aligned with theirs. So that's my only point. There's a lot of polarizing energy.
Yep.
Still.
Absolutely.
All right. We've been talking about this supply chain problems and what we're starting to see the effects of it. So we were talking about supply chain inflation and what it's causing the prices of lumber and all that stuff. And you got to imagine the hurricane that's flying through the South is going to create some more inflation conversations around supply chain, around oil and gas and certainly lumber. But we're starting to see some effects of it in the housing industry, especially around new construction. And this was an article that was on Housing Wire where it's talking about the new home prices and new constructions are really starting to slow down mid to late summer. I'm not surprised. It's certainly not a positive headline, but it's a headline that I need to understand because it certainly is going to play a factor in first-time home buyers. It's going to play a factor in inventory, and ultimately, it's going to play a factor in the economics around the real estate industry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jeffrey, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, you nailed it all. I mean, I got nothing wise to say to that.
So leave me all the bad news, guys.
No,
That's good. All right.
How about
I'll give
this?
you a
I'll
good
add.
one. We're going to end on this.
All right.
So RIS Media talks about establishing a growth mindset helps avoid burnout. Rick, you're probably one of the best examples of this, right? Like, we all work hard, and you read books, you attend seminars. How does that connect you to avoiding burnout?
Well, this is not a scripted response, but it just keeps my brain moving and it keeps me thinking. And to be honest, when I attend seminars or outings where people are there to learn, there's a DNA that seems to be attached to the collective environment and then the individuals that invest in themselves. And so I think the caliber of conversation and the caliber of energy is naturally elevated by the caliber of people. And so it's that's one, if you want more energy and positivity and you want to learn something, go hang out with smarter people who are more motivated. And eventually, there's an element of that rubs off and rubs in, and there's just the DNA of learners. They tend to gravitate, and so that's my story. Sticking to it.
100%. Well, I love the energy that always comes out of mega camp or comes out of family reunion in our company, because it means we just immersed ourselves into this growth mindset, and we all have ideas and we're excited, and it's hard to get burnt out. Even if you have a bad day, if you're looking 90 days out, 180 days out, 5 years out, going, man, let's go take the mountain, right?
That's it. And there are no bad markets. They're just markets. And how do you play to win relative to the dynamics of the current market?
Yep. Jeffrey, I'm going to give you the last word of the day.
Dive in, tying all this together. We're not alone as agents, even though we are sometimes feel like we're on an island to ourselves. You're not the only one going through it. And dive into your market center, dive into your leadership, dive into your team leaders, and surround yourself, like Rick was saying, with other people, because it's the only way we're going to get better. It's the only way we're going to be able to practice these listing appointments and consultation appointments using data, is to be around other people and be having the conversations with each other first. So that's all I got. This was great. Thank you.
I love it. Every Monday, 2:30, it's random conversations, and we hope you get a lot of value out of it. See you next Monday. Oh, actually, we won't see you next Monday, next Tuesday. Have a good one.
All right, we got the holiday. Enjoy your long weekend.
Bye, guys.
And sell a house.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Good houses.